All right, I'm about to give out an interesting name. Quintez Cephas from Wisconsin. I think he's the best receiver I went against. Doesn't matter what his 40 time was. I think that he's a football's played in between the lines, and he's a technician, someone that I change my plan up for every single week. I think he might have been the only receiver to have 100 yards against us, and we knew that going against him, we have to earn our keep.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Cohen again back to throw. To the sidelines. Cephas! Quinn Cephas! All kinds of time to throw. Deep ball. Then to Cephas! How about back to back?
Looking down the field, the receiver. Quintez Cephas over the shoulder makes the grab.
Cohen looking for the end zone for Cephas and a juggling catch for the touchdown. Quintez Cephas, the highlight catch of the day. Third down, five-man pressure. Cohen, Cephas down the sideline. First down and more out of bounds at the Illinois 33.
And Cephas, what catch. Looks like he hauled that in with one hand.
Got him again.
Cephas again, back shoulder, touchdown. Cone looping it in the corner.
What a great adjustment.
It is Quintez Cephas. Lined him up, touchdown.
Cone goes back, takes a downfield shot. Cephas has got it.
Here's Cone. Throws it. Caught. Cephas.
Come on, man. Come on, man.
Sets up in the pocket, delivers a strike across the middle. Catch made. Cephas, touchdown, Wisconsin.
The Winnebago has left the driveway. So credit to the crack IT staff. This weekend went off without a hitch. So I appreciate those guys very much. Appreciate scouting staff, coaching staff, operations staff, trainers, doctors, administrative help, the front office. It's a team effort, the draft. It's always, myself and Matt obviously have to, talk about everything all the time, but it's a big process. That's a year-round thing for us. Our area scouts are, they'll get a little time off here and then they'll be right on to next year's guys going forward. And, really excited that we were able to, the draft went off without a hitch. So the virtual stuff was no issues for us. And really, really excited about what we did here this weekend, and can't wait to hopefully get these guys in person as soon as we can. So just to start off today, we obviously moved back at the top of the fourth round and took Logan Stenberg. Really just, we went in today looking at the board and really just followed the board. It was back-to-back guard picks, obviously with Jonah in the third and then Logan in the fourth. And it was just, it wasn't a need-based pick. It was just kind of, hey, this is the best guy on the board. Had a good grade on him, felt comfortable with the person, and went after him and moved back and was able to get him and picked up another pick. So that was good. Quintez Cephas from Wisconsin, really, really strong player, very physical, great catch radius, strong hands. Coach Bevel has a strong relationship up at Wisconsin, obviously. One of his former teammates is one of the coaches up there. So really got a great recommendation on that player there in the fifth. And obviously, the receiver thing was something we were looking for a little bit here and there. And he was a guy that we felt very, very good with in the fifth round. And then later on the fifth round, Jason Huntley from New Mexico State, running back. This is a speed player. This is a space running back, a little bit undersized, but extremely fast and athletic and competitive. And when you guys see this guy play, he's probably 195 pounds, but when you watch him, he plays a lot bigger than that. He's very physical. He's not avoiding contact, and he's a dynamic special teams returner as well. John Penasini, Utah, if you watched Utah football this year, they had a great defense. I'm not sure exactly how many defenders they got drafted out of their squad, but I think it was 6+. And he was kind of the clog in the middle of the defense that did all the dirty work, and really good scheme fit for us. Strong player, physical, plays low to the ground, uses his hands extremely well. Great culture fit, great person, hard worker. That was really an easy pick for us. We kind of had that guy earmarked for a while that we would consider on the third day. And then came back in the 7th. Really had a number of guys on the board that we liked. We took Jashawn Cornell from Ohio State, where, Penasini's more of a run player. Cornell is a defensive lineman that's more of a pass rusher. He can play defensive end. He can rush from the inside, at 3 technique in passing situations. And he was another guy in a very good defense. You can probably count up the number of guys from Ohio State that got drafted. And this guy, when you watch all that film, he keeps showing up on film, making plays, especially as a pass rusher. So excited to get this group of the 2020 rookie class going here. We had 9 picks. As you guys know, we're working on rookie free agency as it speaks right now. Taking a little break from that. Hopefully get those things wrapped up by the end of the night. But I appreciate you guys staying with us all weekend. I know it was a good distraction for everyone. Before I open it up to questions, just, as we get going here, as we try to get back to life as normal, just want everyone to be safe out there. This thing's still kind of going around our area pretty good. So just even though the restrictions are getting lightened a little bit, just want everyone on this call and our fans to be sure they're being diligent and being careful out in public. So with that, I'll open it up.
Okay, we'll start with Mike O'Hara.
Yeah, Bob, thanks a lot. We always talk about adjustments in pro football, and this was an adjustment on a grand scale. And I just wonder, you're just going through it, what sort of you learned, maybe have learned from it, and is anything in this whole process that's so different? I mean, like you said the other day, there'll never be another draft like this. But did you learn anything going forward that might be applicable that you can use?
Yeah, Michael, great question. I just got off a Zoom with my staff about 10 minutes ago. And we were talking about that, and I asked them, hey, listen, over the next couple of weeks, I want you guys to jot down anything you guys learned, anything we can incorporate going forward. Because, as you guys know, during the season, you're the beat reporters. You guys are at Allen Park all the time. You guys put in a lot of hours following our team, and you guys appreciate the amount of hours that our football staff puts into it. So this could be a good lesson for us to kind of have a good balance in our lives in the off season, knowing that the draft is critically important to what we do. But maybe we can tone down the hours and work smarter rather than longer. Maybe do a few things virtually a day or two a week. I'm going to look into that. I don't make any promises one way or the other, but that's something I'm going to evaluate over the next couple months. I always like to take a few days, sit back, see how everything went in the off season from when our season ended to the draft. And then we always make adjustments going forward. So that's something I'm going to think about, but I think it's a great question by Mike. And I think, listen, you guys know how important my family is to me. You guys saw my kids on TV all weekend. I thought that was cool for them, but it's hard. It's hard being a coach in this league. It's hard being a scout in this league. It's hard being a GM in this league when you're away all the time or in the office all the time. So if we can figure out a better work-life balance for the months of, February, March, and April, I'm all for it. So as the leader of the organization on the football side of it, myself and coach, we're going to look at it and see what we can do for our employees to make their lives a little better.
Okay, Stoney.
Yes. With Huntley's acquisition, does that put Ty Johnson in a precarious position? And with the kickoff returns being not a big enough part of the game, how does Huntley fit in? And the other question I have is locally, people want to know, why is Cephas better than DPJ over at Michigan?
Okay, got it. First thing on Huntley. Huntley, listen, he's going to be in competition in that running back room. We feel good about the depth of that room. And the good thing about the running backs right now, we have all shapes and sizes, right? We got some bigger guys. We got some middle-sized guys. We got a little, Huntley will be our smallest guy. but he's extremely fast. So, very confident that we'll find a role for him. And, he is going to be in competition with Ty Johnson. And Ty Johnson was a 6th-round pick last year. So Ty knows Ty is a smart guy. Ty knows that he has to come in and earn it every year. We're excited about Ty Johnson and hopefully the progress that he makes from year 1 to year 2. And we're going to put Jason right in there with him. And, we'll keep the best team we can as possible. And, the good thing about Coach Belleville and his offense, he knows how to use guys. They can put them in different positions. Just try to get these guys the ball in the best ways possible so we can, get first downs and score points. And then Cephas, I'm not going to comment on a guy we didn't draft. Peoples-Jones is a good player as well. Cephas was one of the guys, we kind of had circled for a while. It was funny. He had a disappointing combine workout slightly. But then he had one of the last pro days before it got shut down, and he improved dramatically with his 40. And I would say that equates to how he plays on the field. Really strong guy, big catch radius, like I said, really, really good hands, physical player. So excited to have him in our team.
Justin Rose.
Hey, Bob, a little tribute to your alma mater in the background here. Hope you appreciate it.
Justin, I just saw that for the first time, and Kyle, I apologize. You are now in 2nd place. Justin is in 1st place.
Let's go. Thank you very much.
Let's go.
I got to look up the mascot next. I know that we won't know for a couple of years how this draft class turned out, but I mean, obviously you feel good about it today, but looking back at some of your other drafts here in Detroit, I mean, do you feel this is your strongest draft you put out to date?
Yeah, I don't know that I'm going to say that right now, Justin. I appreciate that. I appreciate that you mentioned that, but we'll see how these guys play. We're excited about it, as you said. You think it's a class that we put a lot of hard work into. I think we have playmakers on both sides of the ball, and probably on special teams with a couple of these guys as well. So yeah, I hope it is. I hope to improve every year. Listen, the draft is an inexact science. Listen, I wish I batted 1,000. It'd be a lot better. Our record would be better and all that. It's a hard thing. We work extremely hard at it. This year it was a little different, but I feel really good about this class. But again, we feel good now. These guys have to do a great job in the offseason, whatever that entails. They have to work their butt off on their own and learn the playbook. So when they hit training camp or later on in the offseason program, they hit the ground running because we have a competitive team before these guys. So the work is a lot in front of them. That's what we told every one of them when Coach and I got on the phone. We congratulate them. We get them fired up for a minute, and then it's like, hey, listen, enjoy this for your family tonight and tomorrow. Then we're going to work. Monday morning, we got to start going to work. Whenever the coaches can get their hands on these guys, I think it's another 2 weeks, but we can do some stuff over the phone between now and then.
Norwood High football rules.
Mustangs.
Jennifer Hammond.
Hey, Bob, I just want to say I commend your awareness and initiative to kind of focus on the work-life family balance going forward. I think that's something that's pretty impressive and doesn't always come out of things like this, but this is, I think, a time that's shown a lot of us different things. With all of that said, for Kyle and Grace, I know that yesterday the kids were shown even more so. I think it was after the Swift draft pick, perhaps, that you gave them the high five and kind of the fist bump thing. And that's been used throughout the draft. How exciting is it for them, and how much more did they understand about and have, I guess, a little bit of an appreciation and respect for what you do, as much as you've enjoyed being home with them, just them seeing your work environment and all that it entails?
Yeah, thank you for that question. It means a lot. It's different. I get emotional talking about this because, you guys know me, and I love these 2 kids and I love my wife. And it's hard to be away from these guys, traveling around to pro days and jumping on flights, getting home late, then sleeping for 6 hours and going to the office next morning in the spring is hard, especially when you lose all the time during the season like you guys know we do. So I thought that was cool for them. I try, Kyle's around a lot in the office and down in the locker room because he's old enough and he can be in the locker room with the guys a little bit. Grace, on the other hand, she can't. And she's been in the office helping around a little bit from time to time the last couple of years. But, I'll give you guys a little bit of insight. I have our draft board on a kind of a poster board. It's like a 3x4-ish big poster board with it's printed out of our draft board. And so, today I woke up and I said, I'm not going to be able to walk up and cross off all the names because they come off so fast on day 3. So they got up this morning, they slept in a little bit, and I said, all right, we have a job today. And they were in here with my office the entire draft. So I thought that was really, really cool. They didn't miss a player. So that's really important because when you're getting down to the end of the draft in 7th round, you're trying to look at the best names possible to sign as rookie free agents. And, we have a lot going on with the computer screens and the draft board. And I was staring at that, and my kids had it right. So I'm excited about that. And we just gave them a little lesson on how rookie undrafted contracts work. So they get a little tutorial about signing bonus and P5 guarantee. So I don't know. We got a couple of GMs in the making around here. Maybe I can retire a little sooner.
Did their phones blow up with friends seeing them on TV all weekend long?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So both my kids, we get to know a lot of the other families in the league. Obviously, I was in New England for a long time, so Nick Casario and his family, Monty Austin for what, Brian Smith, all those guys, even Bill's family. But then we go to the league meetings in March, and we're very, very fortunate enough to bring our families to that. It's usually a great event, and they've become very close friends with a lot of the other GM and head coaches, kids around the league. So it's pretty neat. I know I saw Joe Douglas's kids. Jason Light's one of my best friends in this business. I saw his kids. That's awesome to see Charlie and Zoe. John Robinson, I saw his kids. So it's pretty cool. Listen, I can talk about this all day because I think it's a really, our business is stressful. There's pressure. We need to win, all that. And you know who feels it more than I do? My wife and my kids. When you go to school and you lose on Sunday and the kids have no idea what you go through, and they're giving my son and my daughter a hard time because we lost to the Packers or whatever. So it puts life in perspective, Jennifer. I greatly appreciate the question because I think it's important for the fans to realize that, we're people too. My kids are people, and I think they deserve a lot of recognition this weekend. And I'm very glad that they were part of it. Well, and I know Coach Patricia is very, very happy that his kids were a part of it as well.
Well, if Grace ever wants to have a job shadow with us on the field at Fox 2 for pregame, she can.
You can sign her up.
Thank you. Carlos?
Hey, Bob, I was going to change my Zoom background, but the tutorial got interrupted right when you guys traded down, so I didn't get to finish it. So
I'm trying to find you.
Yeah, sorry about that. Well, hey, you mentioned getting back to work on Monday, and I think you touched on it last week about the virtual offseason beginning on Monday.
Yeah.
Just expand a little bit on what that's going to entail, specifically for the rookies, but also for the vets too.
Yeah. So the virtual program for our vets, we'll start there. Okay. First, so that will start Monday, and really what it's going to be is, during phase 1, normally the players could be in the building for 4 hours. 2 of which can be on field. So what we're going to do for the Lions, and every team can be a little different. The league gave us a couple different choices. We're going to use 2 hours every day during the phase 1 to do online classroom. So that's what we're going to do. That's going to be not mandatory. That's going to be what we're going to ask our players to do. Obviously, it's voluntary. So that'll be 2 hours a day. I believe it's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, or Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. I can't remember. 4 days a week, starting Monday. And that's what we'll do, and then they'll work out on their own.
Okay.
I didn't do a background, but I do want to say that Kyle right now has the best background, so make sure you take a look at that one later.
All right, I'm scrolling.
Yeah, and it was good to hear you talk about your family. That's good stuff for everyone to hear. But two football related questions. First, how do you define a successful draft? Kind of tying into Justin's question, but like, be it in the moment or years down the road, whenever, just what does a successful draft look like to you? And then number 2, with Cephas, can you just address the legal situation that he went through and why you felt comfortable taking him?
Yeah. A successful draft to me is, the great majority of your picks are contributors. And, obviously a couple of them turn into dynamic players. And really what it comes down to, Dave, is you win, right? You win. You build a team that's good enough to compete week in and week out, no matter what the situation. You build enough depth you have enough talent, you have enough star power that can go out against the best players in the league and win on a consistent basis. And that's what our goal is. That's where our goal will always be. So, it's hard to, like I said at the beginning, hard to quantify. Like, it's an inexact science. And you could have a really poor draft and kill it in free agency, and you could have a 12-win team. You see it, all the time. But really, I think the core of your team, as you guys know, and I've said it a bunch, the core of your team is through the draft. So you have to hit on these guys. They're under 4 and 5 year contracts. Their cost is fixed. So you want to hit on as many as you can, and that's our goal. And you guys can be the judge if we do a good job with that or not. But I felt over my first 4 years we've done a good job in the draft, and my goal is to improve every year. And it's no different than this year. So I hope this class is better than last year's class, and hopefully that equates to a lot more wins for us. For Cephas, we did our normal research that we do on all players, and no problems there. We looked into that legal matter, did our research, and felt good with it. And like I said, Coach Belleville has great relationships up there, and you talk to the football people and the people on campus at Wisconsin, and that thing was in his past, and they speak glowingly of this player in person.
Chris Burp.
Hey, Bob, just one quick follow-up on sort of the rookie camp and all that. Are you guys still able to sign guys to rookie camp invites like you normally would, or is that process different all this year? And then with Stenberg, wondering if he was a difficult evaluation at all just because of what that Kentucky offense was for most of the year with Bowden playing, option quarterback for a lot of it?
Yeah, same process for rookie free agent signings. So we can, agree to terms with guys after the draft. And then, once they officially sign their contracts and pass their physicals, we can release those transactions. So no difference there. It's just, we're not going to have a rookie mini camp because usually the rookie mini camp is, 2 weeks from this, about 10 days from now. So we're still going to be in shutdown for that because the league told us that the first 3 weeks of the off-season program for us are closed. So we have not heard from the league about a rookie mini camp date or anything, but from what I understand right now, the rookies can get involved in the virtual off-season program in 2 weeks, which will be basically 2 weeks from Monday. And I think let me rephrase that. I believe I've gotten so many memos from the National Football League in the last 2 weeks you couldn't even imagine. But I think the rookie mini camp can go on as scheduled, just virtually. So I think we'll probably do a little introduction, a little bit of virtual classroom as well. But Coach and his staff are kind of working through the logistics of that next week.
And then just on Stenberg real quick,
oh, yeah.
what you saw from him there?
Yeah, Logan is he's a nasty guy. They ran the ball a ton at Kentucky, so he's a little bit, probably a better run blocker right now than pass pro. But this guy's 6'6", 320, long arms, nasty demeanor. So it wasn't a difficult evaluation. It's just in college football, you see these guys pass protect all the time because it's always drop back, it's 3 wide, it's 4 wide. So when you put on the Kentucky film, it's like, wow, they're actually running the ball downhill. So it's fun to watch because you don't really see it a lot in college football. So some of the run stuff is actually a direct correlation to what we do, and some of the pass stuff you'll have to work on. But we felt really good about the player.
Mike Rothstein.
Hey Bob, is it something that you notice as the draft goes on when you end up taking 3 guys from one school? And what was it maybe about Ohio State this year that made that both attractive and something you ended up doing?
Yeah, not by design, but good observation. I would say obviously Ohio State's one of the top teams in the country year in and year out. I think everyone would agree with that. So I would say, Jonah's case, we watched this film, but then we had him at the Senior Bowl. I think, out of the Senior Bowl guys, he's the one guy that we fell in love with there. We fell in love with a lot of guys, but he was the one guy. I would say for Cornell, if you look back at Cornell's like snap count, you guys all have your PFF accounts, so you could probably figure it out pretty quick. I think he gradually played more as the season progressed, and his production increased as the season progressed. So obviously we're looking at, Okudah, Arnett, Fuller, Harrison, Chase Young, Devon Hamilton, Malik Harrison, all these guys. They got, how many guys in defense get drafted for them? 8?
Something like that. Yeah.
So you're watching all their film, right? Like you're over and over again. Like you take a half a day and you watch Chase Young just by himself. So you make sure you have that evaluation. And then you go back and say, you know what, I want to watch these linebackers and front guys. And so then all of a sudden, who's this Cornell guy? He was on our radar, but he was graded a little lower, I'd say, in September, and his grades progressively got higher through October, November, and December. And then, the more you watch Ohio State, the more you see this guy show up later in the season as a rusher.
And just, you were talking obviously a lot about kind of the difference of this. Would you want to maybe see the league go to a draft kind of more like this, where maybe you do day 3 at home or day 2 at home or day 1 at home, something like that, versus what it's been in the past? Do you think it could change to a hybrid, or maybe even go to this?
Yeah, I'm not going to try to pretend to be the commissioner here and set any expectations going forward about how they're going to do the draft. Ultimately, we love our draft room, but I think it showed this year we can do it this way as long as the technology held up, which it did for us. So whichever way they tell us to draft, we'll be there. We'll be prepared. But we'll chalk this up as a learning lesson, and we'll keep everything that we learned and what we can improve on if this ever happens again. Or like Mike said, maybe it's some part of it's like this, and we'll learn and grow from it.
Larry Lage.
Hey, Bob, how much of a challenge do you think it is for the organization to evaluate later round picks and undrafted free agents when you're not going to have the reps and the opportunity to evaluate them, and on their side of it too? How much more difficult is it going to be for those guys with limited opportunity to show you what they can do to make teams?
Yeah, I think it's absolutely a great question. I think I mentioned it. I think it was in my pre-draft presser. Just the pure volume of rookies. Obviously, the draft picks are going to get, an awesome chance to come in and make the team. And we'll have our normal training camp, hopefully, if not more. But the rookie free agents, they're going to get the same exact opportunity. They're going to come in, they're going to hit the ground running, and they're going to have every chance to make our team and show us what they can do. So those guys are hungry for NFL spots. So it's really up to them. The guys that we can acquire here in the next 24 hours as rookie free agents, they're going to have to take the training very seriously, so they hit the ground running. But we in terms of pure numbers, I think I said it, we're not going to be signing a ton. I think we're going to sign somewhere between 7 and 10. So we're working on that right now.
Wojo.
Oh, there we are. Bob, how are you?
I'm great. Do we have a background here, Woj?
Terrible. Same thing. Terrible.
Okay.
Terrible. I'm bad at that. But I do vote for Justin Rogers as number 1.
100%.
For sure. And my question is about your draft philosophy these 3 days. And I know we always try to peg it, did he go for offense? Did he go for defense? And, we sort of thought it'd be defense heavy because the defense needs help. But did you sort of shift towards the running game and how important that is? You got running backs and offensive linemen, and that's a way you could help defense with a better running game?
Yeah, we want to improve the running game for sure. Absolutely. I think that will help our offense on multiple levels. And I think, Woj, when you look at the entire scope of the offseason, I think the great majority of the guys we signed in free agency were on the defensive side, right? So conversely, you go to the draft and you're trying to fill out the musts or the needs that you have to really go out and put the best team as possible. And it ended up, where we got 5 of the first 7 on offense. With obviously Okudah and Akwara put in there, but wasn't exactly by design. Like, hey, we need to draft more offense and defense. It's just when you're sitting there and you have best available and you try to blend best available with what you need. That's kind of how it shaked out this year, and I'm happy with it.
But you must understand and appreciate the importance of a running game. People get all into Patrick Mahomes and everything else, but I still respect the importance of a running game.
Absolutely. I think our offense is predicated on controlling the line of scrimmage, running the football, getting Matthew Stafford, in a play action game. I mean, if you go back and chart the big plays we had last year, how many were on play action? Good majority of them. So we want that running game to be strong. We want to be versatile. And I think, Coach Bevel, you guys studied his history before he came here, and he always had successful run games wherever he was. And that really made his quarterback better. So that's kind of, our philosophy. We're not going to sit back there in 4 wide receivers and spread, and we're not doing that. Like, it's a small part of our offense, but the great thing about our offense, and hopefully the great thing that our offensive players that we drafted and signed this offseason, they can be very adaptive to what we're doing from a week-to-week basis. Coach, as you guys know, Coach Patricia's we're a game plan defense. It's going to morph into what he thinks can work that week. And really, when you think about it, Bev's offense is the same way. It's just not lining up and run 21 personnel or 12. It's, hey, who do we have available? Who's healthy? Who's playing well? Who's got the hot hand? And then we go from there. So I'm excited about how these guys fit into that puzzle.
Okay, we got 5 more questions, starting with Justin Rogers.
I think Huntley was probably the guy that most of us in this chat didn't really know well. I think back to a chat we had with Matt Patricia about first time he saw Danny Woodhead and how he really wanted to have a guy like that on his roster. And you went out and you got J.D. McKissick that kind of played that role. Do you see Huntley as kind of that, I guess, speedy Swiss Army knife that can play in the slot or maybe even slide outside and play a lot of different roles in this offense if he projects out as you did in your evaluation?
Yeah, I mean, first and foremost, he is a running back, but yes, he's a guy that can do multiple things. He's not Bo Scarborough, right? He's not that kind of running back. He's a guy that you get him in space. J.D. McKissick's a good example. I would say, J.D. was an accomplished player. Jason has a lot to prove. He comes from Mexico State, so the jump in level of competition is going to be big for him. But I think as you guys probably have watched YouTube or try to watch some film on him tonight, he's explosive when he gets the ball in his hands. And he was one of the few schools that we had the pro day information for, in the pro day video and all that stuff. So he had 1 foot up on some of these other guys that come from smaller schools, were not invited to the combine. And we had a full evaluation on him and Cornell. So those are the 2 guys, we took that weren't invited to the combine, which, looking back at it, we were comfortable with the medical. Our medical staff did a great job researching the guys that weren't at the combine. And, but I think it was, timing's everything in life. And I would say for New Mexico State to have their pro day on March 7th or whatever day it was pretty good timing for Jason Huntley.
Steve Courtney.
How you doing, Bob?
Hey, Steve.
Congratulations on a productive 3 days. It wasn't that long ago that a lot of your GM colleagues were wondering whether or not this draft should take place for reasons that are obvious. Clearly, the nation needed this based on the ratings. Now that it's all said and done and things went very well, being human and not knowing what the future holds, is it tough not to have that getting a tie on Christmas morning feeling?
Yeah. It's, you're going to wake up tomorrow and you're going to be sitting there. I'm probably not going to do, hopefully, a lot tomorrow. I'm probably going to eat a big breakfast and hang out, look at my phone all day as people text me looking for contracts. And then you got to rethink, all right, what am I doing Monday? I'm not going to the office on Monday, right? So what would I normally be doing on Monday to get ready for the next phase of the off season? And for me, it would be planning rookie minicamp. As you guys know, we would, bring in a bunch of tryout players, probably 30 to 40 guys every year. So obviously we can't do that. So I got some thinking to do over the next couple of days. Going to give my staff a little bit of time off. Well, I want to get those guys energized, and then going to put my thinking cap on how we're going to attack the rest of the off season from a personnel standpoint. How we do that, how we look at the rest of veteran free agency, which is still active and ongoing, as you guys know. Still good players on the board in free agency that we're going to evaluate and see if we can work them into our roster. But it's a great question that, it's going to be different. I got used to waking up, getting some coffee, walking down to my home office and just going to work on the draft. Now it's going to be like, okay, I'm going to get up and get some coffee. I'm going to come in here and it's going to be, all right, what's next? right? There's film to watch, but I'm not going to be watching a lot of film next week. I'm just going to be truthful with you guys. Need a little break from the film for a few days. But I think, evaluating what the next steps are and how we stay ahead of this from a football perspective is important. I'm going to talk to my staff, and we're going to talk to coach, and just kind of see how we can get our leg up in these circumstances. At the same time being healthy and smart about it.
If you were a betting man, Bob, are you under the impression that training camp will start on time late July? Do you have a feeling on that at all?
Yeah, I really don't have a feeling. I mean, I really don't. I don't want to put an opinion out there because it would be very, very uneducated.
Tony?
Two quick things. Do you pay attention, Bob, to what the other teams in your division did in the draft? And did you guys know that Swift's father was such a physical specimen, and will he be leading any video workouts during this time?
Yeah. We keep track of obviously of every team. One of the things I normally do, first thing tomorrow probably will be just kind of I make a little chart. One of my computer guys makes a chart for me. It's like a 2-page back-to-back laminated thing with all the picks, so I can sit back and just study them as it goes. It's honestly, when you get into day 3 of the draft, Stoney, the picks are coming off so fast, and I got trades going. I'm trying to find out who to pick for us. I don't know who the Packers took in rounds 5, 6, and 7, just to be honest with you guys. But that's something that that's literally tomorrow will probably be one of the first things I do, because we want to take a look at that. You kind of knew what their needs were heading into Thursday, but how did they do? What did Stoney give the Packers for a grade compared to us? I mean, that's what I'm gonna be toning in. What time are you on tomorrow? On Monday.
Off tomorrow, 6 o'clock on Monday.
6 o'clock on Monday. I'll be here.
All right.
Last 2 questions. Michael Stepps, then Stacey Dales.
How you doing, Bob? I tried to step up my background game for tonight, so.
All right, I'm finding you. Hold on, bear with me. Oh, Michael, right here you are. All right, supporting our country. I love it.
A couple quick ones about Logan Stenberg. On the conference call earlier, he talked about the game today heading towards skill players and prettier football. And he said he's got a nastiness about him that he brings to the game to bring the game back to how it is supposed to be played. So I wondered if that type of attitude was something that attracted him to you. And 2, do you think there's an element of nastiness missing in today's game?
I love his attitude. I told him that when I drafted him, when we got him on the phone. I said, I love the attitude you play with. I love the aggressiveness you play with. He did have a few penalties that he kind of goes after the whistle a few times, so we're going to get that straightened out real quick. But I think, yeah, I mean, listen, we all want our offensive line to be old school guys, right? Tough, gritty, powerful. And those are the words that I would, describe Logan. So yeah, that's kind of what we look for, and I think that's how he plays. And I think there's a place for that in football, right? You do want skill guys. Listen, we took Swift, we took Huntley, we took Cephas. We want skill guys too. We want the balance of the tough and gritty guys up front and the fast and explosive guys outside. What was the second part, Mike? I forgot.
I was saying that. No, you answered both.
Okay, great. Good seeing you.
Thanks, you too.
Last question, Stacey.
Hey, Bob. Thanks so much for all your comments. I guess I'm just curious to know, I know before the draft started, you talked about, with the uncertainty of the offseason, adding impactful day 1 guys. And now you have Jeff Okudah. And I think with he and Swift, my question is, what is the expectation that with the uncertainty that these guys, especially Jeff, will be day 1 starters? Or are you going to count more on your veterans? I don't know. What are your thoughts on that stuff?
Yeah. I mean, obviously, I would say good question. I would hope that Jeff Okudah would come in and start day 1. I sure hope so. But listen, if we don't have an off-season program, would it take him a couple weeks? Maybe. Never know. But I think he's a very mature kid, very smart football-wise. I mean, I'm very confident that even if we do a virtual off-season program for 6 weeks, he'll know enough of our defense to be a very, capable player very, very early in his rookie season. And then, the whole starter word, especially for the running backs and receivers, really depends on what package you're in. We're going to use multiple running backs. We like Kerryon Johnson. We like Ty Johnson. We like Bo. So we're going to put DeAndre in there. DeAndre is not going to carry the ball 35 times a game. We know that. We're going to use our backs We're going to use all of them. That's why we drafted DeAndre. He's going to be part of that package. But obviously, to answer your question directly, Stacey, yeah, we want these guys to contribute as fast as they can. But, listen, we're going to be smart about it too. We're just, I think I said it last week. Basically, we're living in a week-to-week world. You guys are from a media perspective, right? We are from a football world. So we're not going to put the cart before the horse and just say this guy's going to start or this guy's going to do that. Let's just kind of take it, day by day and week by week in the off season and see what we're dealing with from a world perspective before we start anointing anybody to their positions on the team. But, to summarize, Stacey, I appreciate the question. I just, I want to see these guys in person first. I want to shake their hand. I want to have them sign their contracts, and I want to get on the practice field. So if we can take baby steps, that would be great for me.
All right, everybody good?
Yeah. Bob, thank you so very, very much for all of this, all 3 days.
Thanks, Bob.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thanks,
you guys,
Bob.
listen, be safe. Seriously, I meant what I said at the start. Like, don't be Superman. Be safe for your families. And we'll be talking to you guys here in a couple weeks once we get rolling, okay?
You do best.
Thanks, Bob.
Be safe.
Thanks, Bob.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Let's get it. Let's get it.
First and goal. Huntley into the end zone. First career touchdown.
From somewhere out of nowhere.
Well, that brings us to the conclusion of the first ever virtual NFL draft. What a unique and special 3 days. It's been an amazing and different experience for all of us, and we hope you enjoyed it. Congratulations to all of the draft picks and their loved ones, and welcome to the NFL family. With this draft, we set out to celebrate football and provide an escape. We are proud to have shared this experience with a record number of our fans. Thank you for your incredible passion and commitment. Finally, we wanted to make a difference by honoring and supporting those impacted by this pandemic, especially those on the front lines. I'm thrilled to share with you that thanks to your generous contributions and those of the NFL family, more than $100 million has been raised for COVID-19 relief. That is fantastic. From the bottom of our hearts, thank you.